And my name is Alejandro Gutierrez.
My name is David Hambley.
Krista Joy Serpa.
James Bennett.
My name is Colton Dennis.
My name is Tracy Sprague.
My name is Greg Rellis.
What was that show?
You're gonna make me cry again.
Oh my gosh. I mean, there's...
These are hard questions.
I am performing Richard II, the monologue of the Hollow Crown. So I really like the character of Richard, and he's completely convinced that he is the perfect divine king appointed by God. And the reality or the perception by everybody else is that he's terrible. He's a terrible king, the worst king in the world. And he never actually acknowledges that lower reality until this point, this particular monologue. That's when I think it dawns on him that he's not divine, he's just a man.
For God's sake, let us sit upon the ground and tell sad stories of the death of kings. Of some have been deposed, some slain in war, some haunted by the ghosts they have deposed, some poisoned by their wives, some sleeping killed, all murdered. For within the hollow crown that rounds the mortal temples of a king keeps death his court. And there the antic sits, scoffing his state and grinning at his pomp, allowing him a breath, a little scene to monarch eyes be feared and kill with looks, infusing him with self and vain conceit, as if this flesh, which was about our lives, impregnable, and humor thus, comes at the last, and with a little pin bores through his castle wall, and farewell, king. Cover your heads, and mock not flesh and blood with solid reverence. Throw away respect, tradition, form, and ceremonious duty. For you have but mistook me all this while. I live with bread like you. Feel want. Taste grief. Need friends. Subjected thus, how can you say to me, I am a king?
So my first show was all the way back in 2011.
I've been involved with Merced Shakes since the beginning, since before the beginning, actually.
I have been involved with Merced Shakespeare Fest for less than a year. I started last year with the bilingual production of Richard II.
I was Benedict. I've been Hamlet. I've been other things. I'm going blank right now.
I've played roles such as Beatrice, Puck, Lady Macbeth, Tamara in Titus Andronicus, and the two shows that I directed were included an all-female Julius Caesar.
I played Hero in Much Ado About Nothing. And then I played Viola in Twelfth Night, Songs of Illyria, a couple years ago. And most recently, I played Desdemona in Othello.
It's closing close to 20 years, I think. So I believe it was 2002 was when they had started, and it was a couple years after that.
My first role was in the first production, which was, what was that show?
I was there in the beginning, the first show we did Much Ado About Nothing.
And then I did it like 9 years later. I played the same role.
Bottom the Weaver from a Midsummer Night's Dream, which is one of my favorites.
I was a part in Coriolanus. I was a part in Measure for Measure. And then I've directed some too, actually. So yeah, I'm very proud of that too.
Who else was I? It's hard to remember. There's been a few. Puck was one of my dream roles that I think has since passed me by. So it was a chance to dip my toes into that. Been in 3 different productions of A Midsummer Night's Dream over the years, playing different roles each time. And so it's fun to re-immerse in a familiar milieu.
I wonder if Titania be awaked than what it was that next came in her eye, which she must dote on in extremity. Here comes my messenger. How now, mad spirit? My mistress with a monster is in love! Near to her close and consecrated bower, while she was in her dull and sleeping hour, a crew of patches, rude mechanicals that worked for bread upon Athenian stalls, were met together to rehearse a play intended for great Theseus' nuptial day. The shallowest thick skin of that barren sort who Pyramus presented in their sport forsook his scene and entered in a break when I did him a disadvantage take. An ass's knoll I fix it on his head, anon his Thisbe must be answered, and forth my mimic comes when they him spy, so at his side away his fellows fly, and at our stamp here o'er and o'er one falls, he murder cries and hell from Athens calls. I led them on in this distracted fear and left sweet Pyramus translated there. When, in that moment, so it came to pass, Titania waked and straightway loved, and thus. This falls out better than I could devise. But hast thou yet latched the Athenian's eyes with the love juice, as I did bid thee do? I took him sleeping, that is finished too, and the Athenian woman by his side, that when he waked, of force she must be eyed. Stand close. This is the same Athenian. This is the woman, but not this the man. What hast thou done? Thou hast mistaken quite, and laid the love juice on some true love's sight. Then fate o'errules that one man holding troth, 1,000,000 fail, confounding oath on oath. About the wood go swifter than the wind, and Helena of Athens look thou find. All fancy sick is she, and pale of cheer, with sighs of love that cost the fresh blood dear. By some illusion see thou bring her here, I'll charm his eyes against she do appear. I go, look how I go, swifter than arrow from the Tartar's bow. Flower of this purple dye, hit with Cupid's archery, sink in apple of his eye. When his love he doth espy, let her shine as glorious lie as Venus of the sky. When thou wakest, if she be by, beg of her for remedy. Captain of our fairy band, Helena is here at hand, and the youth mistook by me, pleading for a lover's fee. Shall we their fond pageant see? Lord, what fools these mortals be! Stand aside. The noise they make will cause Demetrius to awake. Then will two at once woo one, that must needs be sport alone. And those things do best please me that befall preposterously.
That is an unfair question. Oh gosh, I love them all. They're all really special.
Oh gosh, I honestly, like from the very get-go, the feeling that I had about doing Merced Shakespeare Fest was this feeling of love.
One of my favorite moments of all my theater was when I was Oberon and Tracy Sprague was Puck.
I reached a moment where I thought I might loop lines and repeat myself. And I think I repeated one line, and I remember that I said, as we got off stage, she had a reassuring presence, and I said, did I repeat a line? And she said, yes, you needed to say it again. And I liked that moment.
Any play that I'm in, whether it be Shakespeare or not, I'm enjoying myself, but there typically is like one, maybe two scenes where it's like, I want to get this out of the way because there's not much to do in it, or what have you. I had none of that as Mercutio. Mercutio was such a fun character. Every scene that I was in was just sheer enjoyment.
The first day of shooting at the Applegate Park, and we had been, not only had we been working for such a long time, or what to me seemed like a very long time on this thing, but also we had been on Zoom at home, and then we were all there, present, socially distant, but physically in front of each other, and that really made me feel a sense of accomplishment in a way.
I was playing Hamlet because that was a challenge. It was a challenge, and I wasn't sure I was up for that challenge. And I think I rose to the occasion, and that really is what introduced me. It was performed in this space right here, and who knew that in the future I would be, the director of the MAC. So that I love that connection, from Hamlet to where we are now.
Probably the memories that stick with you the most, or at least with me, are the ones that are, I would say, unscripted, where something surprising happens and it's reacting in the moment. I played a lead servant, and I was waiting for a lower level servant to show up, and he didn't show up. And I said to the audience, you just can't find good help these days. And it's the best response I've ever had from an audience.
And Othello was just like a long time coming. We had worked on that and dreamed about that production for so long. And I really felt like it was one of few really perfect theater experiences I had. Like, got to play opposite my best friend as our Othello, and it was just beautiful.
Warm, sunny feeling. And that is really my best memory of it, is just that feeling. It's the type of feeling that just makes you want to be a better person when you're in it.
So Romeo and Juliet is very special to me because I hated it growing up. I was one of those, I grew up loving Shakespeare, and I was the one little girl who just did not get on board with Romeo and Juliet because I thought they were so stupid. Like, it was such a dumb plot. Like, it was so easily avoidable, and it just enraged me. And then my first trip to the Oregon Shakespeare Festival, I saw it performed, and I was so profoundly moved by it. I just saw it come to life, and I believed it. I believed the words, I believed the story, and I understood it for the first time. And ever since then, Romeo and Juliet has been beloved to me as an example of something that I had my mind changed about. And so this was a lovely opportunity to get to take ownership of a monologue that I once scoffed at that I now really cherish.
Shall I speak ill of him that is my husband? Oh, poor my lord, what tongue shall smooth thy name when I, thy 3 hours wife, have mangled it? But wherefore, villain, didst thou kill my cousin? Oh, that villain cousin would have killed my husband. Oh, back, foolish tears, back to your native spring. Your tributary drops belong to woe, which you, mistaking, offer up to joy. My husband lives that Tybalt would have slain, and Tybalt is dead that would have slain my husband. All this is comfort. Wherefore weep I then? Oh, some other word there was worser than Tybalt's death that murdered me. I would forget it fain, but oh, it presses in my memory like damned guilty deeds to sinners' minds. Tybalt is dead, and Romeo banished. That one word, banished, hath slain 10,000 Tybalts. Tybalt's death was woe enough if it had ended there. Or if sour woes delight in fellowship and needly will be ranked with other griefs, why followed not when she said, Tybalt's dead, thy father, or thy mother, nay, or both, which modern lamentations might have moved. But with a rare word following Tybalt's death, Romeo is banished? To speak that word is father, mother, Tybalt, Romeo, Juliet, all slain, all dead. Romeo is banished. There is no end, no limit, measure, bound. In that word's death, no words can that woe sound.
Because I was made to do it. It's what is in my soul and in my blood.
Good question. Why do I do theater? There must be a reason.
Why do I do theater? Because it's scary.
For much of my life, earlier life, doing theater was my social life.
And you form a team, and you have to practice and get everything right.
Never thought about doing theater. I've never done any theater. I did some school plays when I was a kid. But it just felt that is what I wanted to do at that time.
People watch you and they clap and they say you did a good job, but it's just really fun getting ready, that moment right before you go on stage. It's a controlled terror for me.
It's the way I'm able to connect with others. And you have in theater a mask that we get to hide under, right? But sometimes that is a way for us to even become more fully connected. It's because people think of us as a character instead of as that person. And I love being able to connect emotionally to that audience.
For me, it's really about figuring out what it is to be human. I find that I don't have a voice unless I'm doing theater. And I feel being human is part of it is having a voice.
Developing the role and finding it and the conversations and the rehearsals and then presenting it to an audience, which is a whole different experience.
There's never been a day of my life that I haven't felt that pull, that is what I need to do.
It's a question that I ask myself often, and I don't really have an answer. I mean, it's for the enjoyment, of course, but there's more to it. And I don't really know. I don't really have an answer as to why it calls to me. And I'm actually fine with that answer.
It's just something I enjoy. I'm James Bennett, and I'm performing Barone's speech from Love's Labour's Lost. I wanted to do something that was about love. That meant that I didn't want to do anything from Henry or Coriolanus. Those are some of the best speeches I've done, but they're warlike. Barone's speech is a muster. It is a call to arms, like for military, but it's based on love.
Have at you then, affection's men-at-arms. Consider what you first did swear unto, to fast, to study, to see no woman, flat treason against the kingly state of youth. Say, can you fast? Your stomachs are too young. And abstinence engenders maladies. Oh, we have made a vow to study, lords, and in that vow we have forsworn our book. For when would you, good sir, or you, in leaden contemplation have found out such fiery numbers as the prompting eyes of beauty's tutors have enriched you with? Other slow arts entirely keep the brain. But love, first learned in a lady's eyes, lives not alone immured in the brain, but with the motion of all elements, courses as swift as thought in every power, and gives to every power a double power above their functions and their offices. It adds a precious seeing to the eye. A lover's eyes will gaze an eagle blind. A lover's ear will hear the lowest sound. When the suspicious hand of theft is stopped, love's feeling is more soft and sensible than are the tender horns of cockled snails. Love's tongue proves dainty Bacchus gross in taste. For valor, is not love a Hercules still climbing trees in the Hesperides? Subtle as Sphinx, as sweet and musical as bright Apollo's lute, strung with his hair. And when love speaks, the voice of all the gods make heaven drowsy with the harmony. Never durst poet touch pen to write until his ink were tempered with love's sighs. Oh, then his lines would ravish savage ears and plant in tyrants mild humility. From women's eyes this doctrine I derive. They sparkle still the right Promethean fire. They are the books, the arts, the academies that show, contain, and nourish all the world. Else none at all in aught proves excellent. Then fools you were, these women to forswear, or keeping what is sworn, you will prove fools. For wisdom's sake, a word that all men love, or for love's sake, a word that loves all men, or for men's sake, the authors of these women, or women's sake, by whom we men are men, let's once lose our oaths to find ourselves, or else we lose ourselves to keep our oaths. It is religion to be thus forsworn. For charity itself fulfills the law, and who can sever love from charity? Saint Cupid then, and soldiers, to the field. Advance your standards, and upon them, lords, pell-mell, down with them. Then, homeward, every man attach the hand of his fair mistress. In the afternoon, we will, with some strange pastime, solace them, such as the shortness of the time can shape, for revels, dances, masks, and merry hours, forerun fair love, strewing her way with flowers.
My music teacher gave me a quote. He said, "That which comes closest to expressing the inexpressible is music." And I think Shakespeare is right next to that too.
And of course, you have beautiful language. The stories are simplistic enough, but complex simultaneously.
There's so much in them. It's amazing that actors still find new ways of connecting the material to today's world.
Ever since I was a kid, I remember like a children's like Shakespeare book that was on my bookshelf, and I knew it was important. I didn't know why.
I had a great illustrated book of the works of William Shakespeare that I just adored because I thought it was the pictures were so beautiful and the words were so beautiful, and I had no idea what most of them meant.
It wasn't really until I was working on my undergraduate and doing some scene work, and I was like working through the text and trying to figure out how to memorize this text, and that was so different from how I talk. And then this realization that Shakespeare has given me the most perfect words to express this really human emotion that we often shy away from in modern society. And it was really just having the right words for once in my life.
And so then it just became this journey to discover them and unpack them. And Shakespeare is so universally known and beloved, but that makes it so ripe for adaptation and interpretation. And so growing up, I just wanted to understand it. Now I really want to explore it.
The language brought me to Shakespeare's plays. It is really, really rewarding to be able to speak his poetry. It's like walking around speaking like you're out of the Bible, or speaking like you're, Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech. Everything is perfect, and and it's brilliant, and you get to practice it over and over, and sometimes you get it right.
To me, Shakespeare reminds me of opera. Another thing that I only discovered as a grown man, right? I didn't grow up watching operas or listening to operas. But then I lived in Italy, and my girlfriend was a literary scholar and knows everything about opera. She sort of told me, well, if you live in Italy, you need to watch the opera. And we went, and I was taken by it, by how excessive it was. It's very, very baroque, very, intense. And I see Shakespeare in a similar way. It's intense, or at least what excites me about Shakespeare. I know other people, everybody has their own thing that they find in Shakespeare.
And you can do so much with a Shakespearean play now. You can mold it to whatever you want it to look like. It can be much more contemporary and relevant to today. Or you can do it as a period piece. There's just so many things. It's just like the groundwork of emotion.
His words and the way we get to use his words to express ourselves, I think, are the closest way sometimes that we can't normally express ourselves, but we could use his words and they are perfect. And I love using his words. My name is Colton Dennis.
My name is Tracy Sprague.
Tracy and I performed a scene from Much Ado About Nothing, in which we played Beatrice and Benedict, respectfully. And then the Scottish play,
Macbeth,
which we were both Mr. and Mrs. Macbeth.
I thought about these two scenes, and I thought about how much fun I had working with Colton, and that I thought the two of us could find some way of incorporating these two iconic relationships into to something that would reflect my passion for Merced Shakespeare Fest specifically.
And there's something about Tracy too that was a lot of actors we get to work with, that we get to direct back and forth. I've directed her, she's directed me. We've acted in so many different things, and so you get this freedom because you know each other so well.
They both deal with gender in such a fascinating, interesting way. We have Beatrice wanting to be a man, saying that she's going to eat a man's, the heart of a man out in the marketplace. And then you have Lady M, who literally turns herself she unsexes herself in the very first scene we see her in to become the man that she needed to be to do this business that she saw as necessary to get what she wants.
Lady Beatrice, have you wept all this while?
Yea, and I will weep a while longer.
I will not desire that.
You have no reason. I do it freely.
Surely I do believe your fair cousin is wrong.
How much might the man deserve of me that would write her?
Is there any way to show such friendship?
A very even way, but no such friend.
May a man do it?
It is a man's office, but not yours.
I do love nothing in this world so well as you. Is not that strange?
As strange as the thing I know not. It were as possible for me to say I love nothing so well as you, but believe me not, and yet I lie not, I confess nothing, nor deny nothing. I am sorry for my cousin.
By my sword, Beatrice, thou lovest me.
Do not swear and eat it.
I will swear by it that you love me, and make him eat it that says I love not you.
Will you not eat your word?
With no sauce that can be devised to it. I protest I love thee.
Oh, why then? God forgive me.
What offense, sweet Beatrice?
You have stayed me in a happy hour. I was about to protest I loved you.
And do it with all thy heart.
I love you with so much of my heart that none is left to protest.
Come, bid me do anything for thee.
Kill Claudio.
Not for the wide world.
You kill me to deny it. Farewell.
Tarry, sweet Beatrice.
I'm gone, though I'm here.
Beatrice.
There's no love in your nay. I pray you let me go.
Beatrice will be friends first.
You dare easier be friends with me than fight with mine enemy?
Oh, is Claudio thine enemy?
Is he not in height approved a villain that hath slandered, scorned, dishonored my kinswoman? Oh, that I were a man! What? Bear her in hand until they come to take hands? And then, with public accusation, uncovered, slandered, unmitigated rigor, God, that I were a man! I would eat his heart in the marketplace!
Hear me, Beatrice.
Talk with a man out of a window, a proper saying.
Nay, but Beatrice.
Sweet hero, she is wronged, she is slandered, she's undone.
Beatrice.
Princes and counties, a princely testimony, a goodly count confect, a sweet gallant surely. Oh, that I were a man for his sake, or I had any friend would be a man for mine. But manhood is melted into curtsies, valor into compliment, and men are only turned into tongue, and trim ones too. He is now as valiant as Hercules that only tells a lie and swears it. I cannot be a man with wishing, therefore I will die a woman with grieving.
Tarry, good Beatrice. By this hand, I love thee.
Use it for my love some other way than swearing with it.
Think you in your soul that Count Claudio hath wronged hero?
Yea, as sure as I have a thought or a soul.
Enough. I am engaged. I'll challenge him. I'll kiss your hand, and so I leave you. By this hand, Claudio shall render me a dear account. As you hear of me, so think of me. Go. Comfort your cousin. I must say she is dead. And so, farewell. I have no spur to prick the sides of my intent. A vaulting ambition which o'erleaps itself and falls on the other. Hath he asked for me?
Know you not he has?
We will proceed no further in this business. He hath honored me of late, and I have bought golden opinions from all sorts of people, which would be worn now in their newest gloss, not cast aside so soon.
Was the hope drunk wherein you dressed yourself? Hath it slept since and wakes it now to look so green and pale at what it did so freely? From this time such I account thy love. Art thou afeared to be the same in thine own act and valor as thou art in desire? Wouldst thou have that which thou esteemest the ornament of life, and live a coward in thine own esteem, letting I dare not wait upon I would, like the poor cat in the adage?
Prithee, peace. I dare do all that may become a man. Who dares do more is none.
What beast was it then that made you break this enterprise to me? When you durst do it, then you were a man. And to be more than what you were, oh, you would be so much more than man. Nor time nor place did then adhere, and yet you would make both. They have made themselves, and that their fitness now doesn't make you? I've given suck, and I know how tender 'tis to love the babe that milks me. I would, while it was smiling in my face, have plucked my nipple from his boneless gums and dashed the brains out, had I so sworn as you have done to this.
If we should fail.
We fail? But screw your courage to the sticking place, and we'll not fail.
Bring forth men children only. For their undaunted mettle should compose nothing but males. Away, and mark the time with fair show. False face must hide what false heart doth know.
doing something beautiful. We need to have those moments of big emotions, big intensity, even for a little while. You can't do it all the time because then you would, I don't know, spontaneously combust. But having those moments that makes life worth living. That's what we're on the planet for, right?
Within theater, many things. The other actors, the director's passion for a particular show and scene and line, the audience, what they take away from it, what they apparently feel, you don't know, right? But you can sense them connecting.
Other artists inspire me a lot, especially nowadays, seeing the creativity of folks finding ways to persevere and keep art alive and keep making art in such difficult times, that I find hugely inspiring. Seeing people from different lived experiences, to me, hugely inspire me, whether it's, from different cultures or different ethnicities or just different backgrounds. Really growing up and learning how many different ways there are to live and different ways to see the world and different life experiences. Everybody has an amazing story, and I find that so inspiring.
What inspires me? These are hard questions.
People, my friends. I have so many talented friends. And it's us challenging each other and coming up with certain ideas to make the world a better place, make us better people. And if it wasn't for the people in my life, and then creative people, they're the inspiration for me, the inspiration in my life and the things I do and want to continue to do.
You inspire me. People inspire me. I really do get inspired by talent, by people, by passion. That's what inspires me.
What inspires me is being different, approaching things differently. Nothing wrong with doing things originally, or at least in what they are expected to be. But I absolutely love it when, speaking specifically of Shakespeare, when it's done differently. When you give me something that I've never seen before, never considered. It's like, wow, that would fit very, very well in something like this. I want to see what we're going to do with that. And that's really what gets me going. And it's something that I know that the audience loves, and the audience will take in. But yeah, just trying to do things differently. My name is Greg Rellis, and I am performing Shylock's epic speech in The Merchant of Venice. I would say my favorite Shakespearean line is at the end. The villainy you teach me, I will execute. It shall go hard, but I will better the instruction. It's a dark line, but it has such force. It has such focus. It doesn't really insinuate violence. It's just a warning. It's almost like an expression of, I'm going to do what I have to do.
To bait fish withal. If it'll feed nothing else, it will feed my revenge. He hath disgraced me and hindered me $500,000. Laughed at my losses, mocked at my gains, scorned my nation, thwarted my bargains, called my friends, heeded mine enemies. And what's his reason? I am a Jew. Hath not a Jew eyes? Hath not a Jew hands? Organs, dimensions, senses, affections, passions? Fed with the same food, hurt with the same weapons, subject to the same diseases, and healed by the same means. Warmed and cooled by the same winter and summer as a Christian is. If you prick us, do we not bleed? If you tickle us, do we not laugh? If you poison us, do we not die? If you wrong us, shall we not revenge? If we are like you in the rest, we shall resemble you in that. If a Jew wrong a Christian, what is his humility? Revenge. If a Christian wrong a Jew, what should his sufferance be? By Christian example. Why? Revenge. The villainy that you teach me, I will execute. And it shall go hard. But I will better the instruction.
Oh, you're gonna make me cry again. Merced Shakes is a family, and it's a family that I was welcomed into immediately.
But I mean, to me, like, they've provided the Central Valley, I mean, it's more than Merced, with Shakespeare for years now. And they've developed an audience that comes to see Shakespeare and loves Shakespeare. And to me, that is huge. That takes a lot of people with a lot of heart and a lot of passion. And I feel like Merced and the Central Valley as a whole is made better because of it.
To me, it has to be accessible to the normal, regular people, the everyday folks. The people who don't know anything about Shakespeare. That's the person that you want to have in your performance. The person who thinks Shakespeare has nothing to do with them, nothing to say to them, that's the person who needs Shakespeare the most. And so the fact that we do this thing, that we do it for the people, that we do it in the park, anybody, people can be, maybe they were going for a run or whatever, and they see all these weirdos in costumes. So I'm gonna stop there and say, what's going on? And then they catch, whatever, the Merry Wives of Windsor. And then they learn something. Oh, this is so great. I'm gonna come back, right? And so that's what I like about Merced Shakes, is this giving it to the community, and no strings attached. Like, here it is. Here's some Shakespeare for you. Do whatever you want, but here it is.
Merced Shakes means family. It means openness. I have made amazing friends here, lifelong friends, and on top of that, I have learned and performed some of the best pieces of the world's drama. But yeah, it represents community, and it represents the vitality and immortality that is dramatic art.
On a very personal level, it means a connection to my wife because, you know, she's the founding artistic director, and so it's a place where we play together.
Well, that's a hard one. It's like my whole life. I've done plays with my son. I've done plays with my friends and loved ones. So I don't know what else to say about that.
You know, there's so many friendships and family and you know, it's a company. It's a company of players, and we get to play together, and it's nice to be welcomed into that fold.
It's been a place to connect with other people. It's been a safe ground. It's been a home.
Do we get to cut now?
That's it. Great.
Thank you.